Hey guys, so we're back. Took a couple months off. People have been asking, even though we're a small channel, a bunch of friends and family and everything have been asking, hey, did you stop, decided not to do YouTube anymore? That's not really the case, but as anyone who does content knows, the hardest part of actually production is the editing process, and it just takes a lot of time. And it doesn't matter whether you have 1 million subscribers or you have 100 subscribers. At the end of the day, is you try to produce something that is useful and beneficial, but also produce it in a way that is appealing. And so it takes a lot of effort. And we were, putting out a lot of content, in all honesty, and I think some of it's really good. I mean, whether the production quality is great, not really, because we're still new at this. I mean, it takes usually years for people to get into it, but we really need to take a break and to focus on getting some of the basic infrastructure in place now that Al is on the farm and is, we're moving forward starting this spring with the gardens and the livestock and everything else. So this is really the beginning of the actual homesteading experience. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of hit two points. And what I've been doing is I bought a Granburg Alaskan chainsaw mill. Okay, and if you're looking for information on that, a lot of everything that I learned and learning is coming from Surviving Ringworm. He's using the exact same system that I'm using. He uses the Stihl saw. I think he has an MS250. This is a 251 BCE. That's just a bunch of other sort of characteristics or attributes about it that frankly I wouldn't do again. So I don't really recommend that. Just get the regular 250. But they're the same saw, and he's using the same Granburg mill that I am. So he's really out there doing great content. So I just, it's not just a shout out to him, but if you're really looking for that. But a couple things came up as I was prepping this saw to work with the chainsaw mill. All right, and the first thing is that since this is the 251 BCE, it is designed really for lightweight stuff. Probably too lightweight, frankly, to be used on a mill, but it's working great. So we'll see over time and distance how it goes. But for right now, it's actually working great. But I did have to make some adjustments to it. And if you've had a 251 or you actually looked at them, you'll notice that this bar is the bar off the MS250, not the 251. The 251, which has like a BCE, it has like a starter assist thing. It's sort of again, I wouldn't buy it again, but it has sort of a starter assist piece to it, and it uses a different type of adjustment, right? A tensioner, chain tensioner adjustment, which is sort of convenient, but I think frankly for the type of chainsawing that I'm doing, the traditional connection would probably be better. It lasts a little bit longer than this. I'm sort of impacting this shield a little bit. I've broken a couple pieces off of it and that sort of thing. So I think just for longevity, probably the traditional 250 is the way to go. But if you're doing lighter stuff, and this isn't, you're not going to be chainsaw, you're not going to be using a mill, and you're not taking down as many trees as I am. I've taken down over 50 red cedars over just the last 10 days to 14 days. So I'm doing quite a bit of felling as well. Anyway, so a couple of things. One is I had to change this bar out, okay? The bar that the 251 comes with is a laminated bar, and you can't use it for the mill because the mill bolts down onto it, and this is not strong enough on the traditional or the laminated bar to be able to use that. So I have to go with the 250 bar, which is a solid bar. And so when I was doing that, I looked, of course, on YouTube and looked for a bunch of folks. And, I noticed I had a channel previously about hiking when I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail. I think you guys know already. And I noticed at that time that when you get onto a lot of these forums, you have folks who basically that's what they do, right? That is their identification of themselves and what they know and who they are. And so they get on there with a sort of heightened degree of self-importance and arrogance, frankly. And they're very condescending in their approach to people asking questions. And that's exactly what I found when it came to this. And so that's why I didn't find even a single individual out there who had made a video about this particular setup. And I think there's, again, a little bit of an arrogance about it, like, oh, this is it's just like somebody who's going to buy this for trimming trees and stuff. I'm not going to waste my time. But some of us find ourselves going to a piece of equipment like this because, frankly, we don't know. So the question at hand is, how do you replace the bar or flip the bar after you've done, as you would do on a traditional chainsaw, after you've sharpened the chain a couple times. And I want to show you how we're going to do that, because the flip it answer was, take the shield cover off and then the bar just pulls right off. Well, that's not true. That's not true. You're going to see as we get through this, and it does just pull off. However, when you're doing it for the first time, what you're going to see is it takes a lot of maneuvering and shifting and jiving and that sort of thing to try to get it to come off. And you're obviously hesitant to do that because you don't want, you convince yourself you're not doing something right, and you don't want to break something or damage this piece of equipment. I mean, it's still quite expensive. So let me show you how this particular system operates, okay? So to replace the bar on the 251 MS251 BCE, which has this adjustment and also the starting assist, but you don't have to worry about that for this, okay, is just simply this loosens up, okay? And as it loosens up, it allows you to move this tensioner forward and backward to increase or decrease the tension on the chain. So see, now I'm decreasing it, and you can actually see it drop down some. Hopefully you can, okay? And you're going to want to do that because to remove the bar, you need to take the chain off first. Okay, so you're just going to unscrew this. Things are going to be a little dirty. I've been doing a lot of milling, so bear with me. But the way this functions is you simply have a plastic sprocket in here. This is part of the thing I'm talking about. It's not really designed for the more heavy use, but it's a plastic sprocket that moves this metal sprocket back and forth. And as it moves it back and forth, you can see it either tightens up or loosens the chain, all right? So to remove the chain, you just obviously loosen it as much as you possibly can. Like that. And then the chain will just come right off. Okay, that's like that. Now the sprocket that actually drives the chain is back here. This is only for the tensioner. Normally you would have two bolts that are right here, okay? Now, this is what isn't being explained in these forums. So now that cover is off, this bar is attached to the tensioner, okay? And the bar is only sitting on there on this, bolt, right, head. And so it can come off, but it takes quite a bit. And now I've taken this off previously, so the first time you take it off, it's a little bit stickier. But what I found is, if you just take a screwdriver and sort of lightly pry on it, you'll get it to come off just a little bit easier. But you just do have to sort of mess with it, and don't be worried that you're going to damage something. This is in fact designed just to slide off. You're not going to strip those threads, and you're not going to damage the saw, but you just have to be, a little bit gentle with it, and it will in fact just slide off. Like I said, the first time you take it off, it's even a little bit more finicky than this time will be. So if you have a little bit more issues with yours, don't worry about it. Just stick with it. It will in fact come off. And you're not going to damage anything by just sort of working, okay? Now I'm pretty close to the end here, so okay, so that's it, all right? So this is just basically a stud that this rides on, and it's threaded because this device on the inside has a metal, female set of threads, and that's all that's doing, okay? But this, okay, now how do you take the adjuster off of the bar? You can see they're attached. There is, again, I apologize for the dirt. There's simply a small screw right here with a flathead. So you take the same screwdriver with the flathead there, simply remove that screw, okay, and then you simply take the bar, turn it over, and now remount this back on the back side. It's going to be upside down, right? So you want it obviously on the outside, it's going to sit like that. So you want to put the adjuster, it has these two little fingers there that go into these two holes, like that. And then if you go around to the back side, just like we did, sorry about that again, we are just going to screw that back in place. Now you'll see that there are actually two holes, but this one does not have threads on it. So you don't have to worry about, you know, putting it back into the wrong hole or the wrong position. Okay, and so now we're going to mount it as you would, you know, traditionally, say upside down or opposite of what it was. And the reason that we do that is to, you know, cause more equal wear around the length of the bar. That's why they recommend flipping it upside down. Now, this is just going to slide right back on. You have to play with it a little bit. Turning the, just so you know, turning the adjuster doesn't screw that on. Okay, that adjuster is completely independent from those threads. Those threads are only for the cover. Okay. Now, what I found is that if you just take the cover, once it's sort of on there, it's a little floppy. If you just take the cover and put it back on, then as the cover reseats itself, it's going to push that bar back into its position, okay? And that's going to hold it. And so that is really as simple as that. Now, obviously, I didn't put the chain back on. I'll put that on in a second. I just wanted to show you this little trick or hack in order to help seat that bar. If you just take that, you see I've seated it nicely here. I hope you can see that. Okay. And so then the chain, and the chain you want to make sure is very simple. The chisel portion comes on the top, needs to be moving forward. So that's how you know how to put the chain on so it's not backwards. So just start at the sprocket end. If you have this, if you have the chain lock or safety back, of course this will spin. If you push it forward, then it locks and it won't move. So you need it obviously in the position so that it will move. And you just take it sort of gentle-like and ride it into its place. And then you can take the adjuster and start moving it, and you're going to see that chain start to come up. Just make sure it seats itself back into the track, like that. And then you can just take the cover, put it back on. if you are going to do light work with a chainsaw, and so you don't need too big of a bar. This is just 18 inches. This is a great chainsaw for regular trimming. And I mean, like I said, I've felled a lot of trees with this, and it's very nice, very sturdy. I think it's got good horsepower. It seems to be a great saw, in all honesty. And you may like this starting system. That it's sort of weird. I don't really know how to explain it. I could demonstrate it for you, I guess. I'd lock the chain. Now that chain is loosened back up, but basically what happens is with this is that you're going to see when I pull on the start cord, it's going to be a delayed reaction, but I don't have to pull it hard for it to basically kick itself over. Right now I'm in choke mode. You see how it did that? Right now it's in choke mode. And so all I'm looking for it to do is to attempt to run, but it's not going to actually run all the way through. There, that. Now, if I just kick it into start, make sure that's locked. That is how that works, okay? So it's sort of an assist. It doesn't take as much effort for you to start it as, I guess, traditionally it would. Okay, so now this is loosened up on me. So to tighten it, I just simply loosen the cover a little bit, just so this this little sprocket inside functions better when this is loose. Get it tight again. Now just tighten this back up, and now you can see it's tight. Okay. So that is it. That is how you replace the bar, and then also the way that the MS251 with the BCE systems function and operate. All right. So thanks for your support. Thanks for being patient with us as we try to move forward with the channel. I hope this is a good example of us trying to be a little bit more professional and get a little better lighting and a little better photography into our system. And we really thank you for your time and your effort in staying with us. All right, guys, thanks a bunch.